Hey guys, how you doing? This is Benjamin with Benjamin's Exotics, and real quick, I was thinking about this subject. I'm getting some new animals soon, hopefully. I have one of them that should be shipped and be coming here on either Thursday or Friday. So, you guys will hopefully be excited for some of that and watch some of those videos. But, real quick, since I'm getting some new animals, and the biggest thing I'm thinking about right now is caging and food, I just did a video on humidity, and really quickly I want to talk to you guys about the real importance of quality when you're feeding your animals, of course, because as this is a very good philosophy for anybody, and it's many people's philosophy, or is what they say is their philosophy at least. Quality over quantity, or quality over price, always. If I produce a pastel ball python and I don't think it looks very good, I'm not going to put it at 75 bucks. It'll be less than that. If I produce a pastel that's, oh my gosh, I can't hold on to it, but it's one of the best ones I've ever seen, I'm going to put it at a much higher price. If I buy a bunch of rats, as we're going to be talking about in this video, mainly frozen feeders, or any kind of food for my animals in general, and I don't think it's of very high quality or good quality, I'll throw them all away. Because you have to be a good judge of that. And I'm not saying go throw all your, frozen feeders away if you don't think they're good quality, but really think about it, especially if you're breeding, because what you put in is what you get out of your animals. So we've got a scale right here, and we'll be talking about rodent suppliers really quickly. I'll give you two right now that are probably the biggest that I can think of that many people buy from and have had success with. Rodent Pro and Perfect Prey. In my experience, Perfect Prey normally sends you smaller rodents compared to what size you get. Their price is normally higher, but they do vacuum seal their bags, something that Rodent Pro doesn't do. Rodent Pro will send you the rats normally in boxes with staples, with insulation. Perfect Prey will normally just send you almost like a bag, not really a box, or they'll send you a smaller box with insulation, but there's less insulation and there's less dry ice. So I don't know if they're more on a budget, but they do vacuum seal, so there is an advantage to that. But those are the two biggest ones, just to help some of you guys, so I didn't want to go through this whole video without mentioning any names that I have bought from and that I think are decent quality, or pretty good quality at least. But I wanted to show you one thing with Rodent Pro that, and this is a little bit older of a scale, so bear with me, but I wanted to show you guys one thing about Rodent Pro that can be a pro or a con for you guys. So these are all from the same bag. These are what they consider large rats, medium rats. Some of these are the size of large rats, but let's look at this guy right here. So this is probably the third or fourth biggest in this whole bag. I already fed off the biggest ones from the bag. This is only 5 I got left. Rodents, at all. But let's weigh this guy and see how much he comes in at. So I don't know if you can see on the scale, but this rat's about 160 some grams, and the scale's freaking out now for some reason, and it's going up and down. But okay, let's let it load for a second. It's about 167 grams, so this is almost a 170 gram rat, and it's considered a medium in their standards. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it just went to negative something. Let's set that to 0. Now let's look at one of the smaller rats. What about this guy? The scale says that that's about an 140 gram rat, and that'll just keep going up. It's probably a little bit lower than that. And then we look at another one of these guys. That's about an 160 gram rat. And then one of these smaller guys. That's probably another 160 some gram rat. One interesting thing about Rodent Pro is they have bigger rats that they send you for sizes, number one. And number two, there seems to be a bigger difference between the size of your rodents. I thought some of these actually weighed a lot less, and let's try this guy. This is probably the smallest one. Yeah, look at this. So this rat's about 110 grams. It just keeps going up for some reason. I have no clue why. There's literally nothing changing to it. But as I said, the scale's a bit old, but it's pretty accurate. It's probably 10 or 20 grams off, but you can get, even size difference. This is a much smaller rat than that. This can be pros or cons for you guys. Pros is if you got a variety of different sizes of snakes like I do, you got some ball pythons that are huge, some ball pythons that are pretty good size, some ball pythons that are just subadults that could eat something like this, and that would be a little bit big meal for maybe a subadult, but close enough. It really gives you guys more of a range than things like Big Cheese Factory and Perfect Prey, which more or less, they're more accurate, but that can be a pro and a con sometimes. If you have one snake, I would say accuracy all the way, because you know about the size that you want your snake to eat, and while you do want to have differentiation and sometimes feed them bigger, sometimes feed them smaller, some people want to be more accurate and pinpoint on. They don't want to get rats that are too big for their snake. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Also, read reviews. If you find somebody that's got no reviews, one of two things. One, you better go on and you better check them out and make sure that they're spot on. If they got any YouTube videos, if they've got any demonstration of their quality of their snakes, if they have any philosophies, go check them out and make sure they're pinpoint on, because what you're feeding your snake is what you're going to get out of your snake in terms of colors, colors, the weight of your snake, how happy it is, how active it is, its size, of course. There's a bunch of different things, so you really need to look out for quality. But also reviews. This isn't always the truth. Somebody could get right into the reptile hobby, have the best animals on the market, best feeders on the market, best whatever on the market, but unfortunately, because they have no reviews, they don't get much. But there's also the opposite. Somebody jumps in, is breeding normals, and says they're all het clowns or something, and they're going to disappear in a month or something and never hear from them again. So you really need to watch out for quality. So this is kind of, basically, if we had to sum this video up, quality over quantity. If you go and you buy from a person and you find that the rat quality is horrible, even if it's at a great price, don't do it. Because then at that point you're literally paying to make your snake's health go down. You want to be paying money to make your snake's health go up. So, I gave you guys two recommendations that I've used a decent amount, Rodent Pro and Perfect Prey. I told you some pros and cons about both of those guys, but when you're feeding your snakes, just really think about quality. I'm not saying go out and eat a rat, of course, but have the same mindset. If you go to the grocery store, would you eat something that isn't high quality? I wouldn't. If you go to the grocery store, if you saw two different things that were almost the same price, but one was complete crap quality and one was great, would you buy the other one just because it saved you a little bit of money? Think about that, because I've seen some videos on YouTube. Oh dear. The examples are, you see a video and the person feeds a snake a rat that's been in the freezer so long and it's got freezer burn that's so bad, the snake grabs it off the tongs and it tears the rat in half because the skin and the meat is just so tender and weak because it's been frozen and thawed in the freezer. You think that's good for your snakes? Or I've even seen people feed like tumors. Like the rat has a big bulge coming out of the side of it and it's a tumor and they feed it to their snakes. Just because the rat's dead does not mean if it has a tumor that it's good to feed it to your snakes. I think that most of this is common sense, but I've seen a lot of people do some things that I really just don't agree with and would never do to my snakes. So I hope you guys take some from this video. If you want to, hey, one last thing. The best thing to do probably is breed your own rats. Now, if you are not willing to put in the work, if you don't have the space, if you don't have the ventilation in some cases, because rats do have a little bit of a smell when you get a big enough number of them. Just a few pet rats really won't do anything. And by pets, I mean, 2 or 3, 4 to breed. Those don't really do anything for smell as long as you keep them clean. They will put off a slight odor, but it's mainly just bedding if you use a good bedding like pine for your rats. You'll smell pine bedding and maybe some feces, but besides that, it's normally pretty easy to breed your own. But when you breed your own, like with my mealworms, you know what goes into them. You know how the overall health of the rat, if it ever had a tumor, if it ever had a cut, if it ever had any problems with it, you know that if a rat ever got loose and you caught it again, you know that it didn't go out and eat some poison or something. You know that it's the best quality. So breeding your rats is also a good idea, but only if you have enough. Because, rats do produce quite a lot. And if your snake can't eat them and you don't have any place to, do stuff with them, you'd just be wasting lives of rats and you'd be wasting food. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just make sure you're checking out the quality of your rats before you feed them to your snakes. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. There's a few suppliers. I might even put them in the description just to sum the video up, because my videos tend to be a little bit longer than I'd like. But Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.